Hello and welcome. Thanks for joining us for the Midday News. The Speaker of the National Parliament, Joe Pomat, and Attorney General Pilar Niningi filed their submissions this morning. Midday's Provincial Census Coordinator, Bridi Kinja-Kali, said recruitment for data collectors has been done. They are awaiting training for those at the LLG level. Mr. Kinja-Kali said there is still some confusion about census counting and electoral roll update. It was evident during the mock census exercise is one of the wards they had visited. The mock census exercise has given them an idea of what to expect during counting. Mr. Kinja-Kali called for more awareness and security out in the rural areas. Are conducting a Tier 3 training for census data collection.
And there is a misconception of census and election, something that needs to be clear in the major awareness. So for census, we head count everyone, starting from birth to ripe old age. For census, for elections, they count from 18 years and above, those who are eligible to vote. That is a problem that a lot of our enumerators will be facing in the rural areas. We need to drive a lot of awareness and possibly engage with security personnel to guide them through enumeration.
Apology for the inconvenience. In Morobe Province, trainers are conducting Tier 3 training for census data collectors. Tier 2 training involved the training of trainers, which was completed a few weeks ago. Provincial Census Coordinator Waina Orama is in charge of 5 of the 10 districts of Morobe. They are Ley, Makam, Huon Gulf, Nawaib, and Bulolo.
I think the Bulolo district has gone ahead to do their conduct their training. The LLGs in Bulolo, that's including Watut, Bulolo Eben, Women, and Buang. I think the district has given them some grants to go ahead with their training.
In Port Moresby Northwest this week, Census 2024 officials are collecting population data and recording information using pen and paper. Recent information from the National Statistical Office remains that all tablets have been configured and distributed for data collection, including the National Capital District. Census data collector for Moresby Northwest, Thomas Ahi, yesterday shared what his team had gone since Monday, 17th June.
And we know everybody around this vicinity, so when we are coming and trying to get data, there's, it's coming to us. We're not finding it difficult to get data from them now.
Australia's Attorney General Mark Dreyfus urges legal institutes to train the next generation of legal professionals to standards that are required by the courts. Dreyfus said the federal courts of Australia and the National and Supreme Courts of Papua New Guinea have had a memorandum of understanding, under which 2 federal court judges travel regularly to PNG to hear matters and share their experience with other members of the PNG judiciary. He said the measures have and practice contribute to the development of an ethical and professional legal fraternity. Dreyfus said instilling these standards also requires the legal profession to effectively regulate its members.
The next generation of judicial officers are selected from among the legal profession's most dedicated and ethical practitioners. These judicial officers themselves must meet the same high standard of conduct before their courts. I'd like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the long history of engagement and mutual respect between the courts of PNG and Australia. For a number of years, the Federal Court of Australia and the National and Supreme Courts of PNG have had a memorandum of understanding under which 2 federal court judges travel
The Australian Federal Police, the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary and the Queensland Police Service recently launched a training program for RPNGC police officers cadets. This will enable more than 60 RPNGC cadets to travel to Australia to undertake training with Queensland Police Service and attend the Australian Institute of Police Management, where they will have the opportunity to develop their leadership capabilities.
Next 4 months, more than 60 RPNGC cadets will travel to Australia to undertake training with the Queensland Police Service and attend the Australian Institute of Police Management, where they will have the opportunity to develop their leadership capabilities. These cadets are the future leaders of the RPNGC, and it is fantastic to be able to give them the opportunity to travel to Australia and experience our diverse operational environment.
A new double classroom launched for Tube Primary School will benefit over 200 students across 6 island communities in the Samarai Murua district of Midday province. The classroom is funded through the Young Pacific Leaders Community Grants with 30,000 kina to a group of 3 young leaders, Kim Allen, Lydia Dimokari and Milka Akane. The double classroom also hosts a library and teacher's office setting. Roma Tudian, Principal Advisor for Milne Bay's Education Division, upon opening the double classroom last week, acknowledged the community efforts and leadership in building the classroom for Tube Primary School. Tuidan committed 500,000 kina worth of stationeries and 10,000 kina to support the classroom furniture and learning items for the school. The classroom is funded through the Young Pacific Leaders Community Grants with 30,000 kina to 3 young leaders, Kim Allen, Lydia Dimokari and Milka Akane. The double classroom also hosts a library and a teacher office setting. Project team leader and grant recipient Kim Allen, upon acknowledging the community efforts to complete the project in 2023, highlighted the importance of community ownership and power of unity to advance development at the community level. The National Maritime and Safety Authority, through Tube Bright Island Lighthouse, co-funded the double classroom and the Church Mashal, among other community-led initiatives. The double classroom project is a continuation of various projects in the community, which include 4 5,500-litre water tanks to Tube Elementary and Primary School and the United Church. On June 8th, the Salesian Mission Day was held at Don Bosco Technological Institute in Port Moresby, focusing on the theme Building of Dialogue. Attendees include members of the Salesian family such as ADMA, Past People Association, FMA Sisters, Caritas, and Sisters of the Missionaries of Mary Help of Christians, Cooperators and Salesians. The event began with Taizé prayer, session led by Rika Lavila and the mission group from Don Bosco Technical School, Gabutu. Father Angel Sanchez, SDB, conducted a Latico Divina session on the story of the Samaritan women, promoting personal reflection. Father Gregorio Bitkomong, Provincial Superior, spoke on the role of dreams in fostering dialogue and understanding, referencing pioneers like Father Valerino. The day focused on encouraging open dialogue, building connections and fostering lasting relationships among participants. In regional news, fishing in Australia's Northern Territory is set for a major shake-up, with commercial gill net fishing for wild barramundi to be banned. The government and opposition have both committed to end the practice.
Lure for fishers at the ballot box. Labor-elected Lawler government will be banning gill nets for barramundi commercial fishing. It will be buying back the licences and will be transitioning the industry over 4 years.
The peak body for recreational fishers says it's the right move. If we have a future that is gillnet-free barramundi fishing, then we know we're going to have remain to be the best place to fish for barramundi.
Charter companies who take anglers on the chase for a prized barra also happy.
Fishing for barramundi is the lure of the territory.
In the Northern Territory, gill nets account for the entire wild commercial catch. Traditional owners have accused the industry of using nets in banned areas, and critics say they ensnare other sea life, including protected species. The details of the 4-year phase-out are unclear. Labor says it set aside $15 million to buy back commercial licences. The opposition says it should have acted sooner to assist industry with alternatives.
The commercial viability of their industry as it currently stands is not going to be able to see that industry progress. That's what's been so frustrating.
Labor says it will invest in new equipment to sustain wild fishing. Those details also not spelled out.
We're going to invest in different gear so that there can be actually probably more jobs into the future catching wild caught barra that can still be on tabletops and restaurants.
The Seafood Council did not respond to questions about the impact on commercial operators. The industry's future now entering uncharted waters.
It's not the news borrowers want to hear, but there was no relief on the offer for the Reserve Bank today, with interest rates kept on hold. Despite central bank to cutting rates overseas, the governor here says she is not ready to move just yet and is not satisfied inflation is on target to come down further.
Was today's message from the RBA Governor Michelle Bullock, who left rates on a hawkish hold.
Inflation is still above central bank targets in many economies, and it is proving to be sticky.
Governor, you recently said that Australia remains on the narrow path of lowering inflation without a recession. If you have to hike rates again, does that risk knocking us off that path?
The narrow path point is about trying not to knock us off that, so that there aren't those inflationary pressures in the economy.
Today's decision came as no surprise to economists.
I think the RBA probably should have increased rates a little bit further, probably closer to around 5%.
We think by year end it'll be very clear that we are tracking back towards that 2 to 3% target range.
It's not unusual for the Reserve Bank Board to leave its options open, but when it comes to a future interest rate hike, that is not what the market is currently expecting.
While the governor conceded higher for longer rates are hurting the economy, she said fears of a recession are unfounded.
They've got jobs, and I think that's really important for the future.
We have an unemployment rate around 4%. If we were in a recession, it would be jumping by 1 to 2 percentage points.
While the RBA didn't pull the trigger on a 14th rate hike, the governor said the board did consider it. She acknowledged the pain of high interest rates is being felt unevenly across the economy, with some households bearing the brunt. The big question for borrowers is when interest rates will start to come down.
We think we'll see an easing cycle running at about a 1/4 percentage point a quarter, so 4 cuts following a November cut as well.
I think realistically it could even be as late as the middle of next year if we get a couple of quarters of inflation being relatively sticky.
A critical few months ahead.
The Panamex Lay Tennis Open 2024 has attracted more participation compared to last year. Total registration hit 57 this year. Although many lay players are unable to play this year, it is encouraging to note that 17 players are joining the tournament for the first time. Female players' registration increased to 20, while the juniors increased to 27, nearly half of the total numbers of players. Visiting players increased from 10 to 15, 12 of whom players from Port Moresby. 3 are from Eastern Highlands Province. 123 matches will be played this year, a considerable increase from last year's 94 matches. There is more opportunity for players to participate in more events. PNG's national soccer team faces Tahiti this afternoon in an important match of the outing in the Nations Cup Tournament 2024 in Suva, Fiji. After losing their initial match 1-5 against the host nation Fiji, the PNG couples are expected to win this match against Tahiti to keep their finals hope alive. Tahiti defeated Samoa 2-0 in its first outing. The Tahiti side would put in their best effort in this encounter to lock in the top two spots in the Group B and make the finals. For PNG, it is a must-win match to give themselves any chance of making the finals. The match is scheduled for 2 p.m. this afternoon, PNG time. And that wraps up our midday news update. Join us for more at 6 p.m.